Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to your daily Women's Football Beyond the Pitch episode. I'm Georgie, your host today, and I'll be joined by the lovely Paige.
Hello.
Today we'll be discussing some lovely, some glorious, some happy WSL baby news, and we'll be touching upon the overall inclusivity in the women's game, the possible introduction of the WSL B-teams into lower leagues and the effects this could have on the growth of the game, whether that's positive or negative. Who knows, really? Let's chat about it. First and foremost, we're just coming off the back of a super fun WSL weekend, as always, and within that, Lotte Wubben-Moy got a rare but not unexpected goal. I think she got a black eye out of it as well. It was pretty hardcore, just clattered her way through Kiara Keating. But anyway, more importantly, goal celebration. So hey, if we're on YouTube now, the Gunners sign she made for British Sign Language, sign for Gunners, as she sprinted away into the distance. What do we think about this? In general, what is it? Is this? I mean, it can only be. I was going to ask, is it positive? It can only be positive for the game. What a stupid thing to say, but I think it's great. I think it's great that she's always one to sort of stand out in bits for actors and bits for inclusivity. What do we think, Paige?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, I think obviously she's celebrating possibly like a massive goal, right, against, a big club like Man City. So it's great for obviously Arsenal fans, and congratulations to them. But I think, the celebration as a whole, it's powerful, isn't it? It's like, especially now that she's come out and actually explained what it means, rather than people guessing or, it's just a nod to like the badge. Like, no, it's like a lot more than that. And I think just the inclusivity of it, I think there's like been things done before with Lionesses, like with regards to like the BSL, where they had like the braille on the back of the shirts or something. And there's been loads of kind of little nods to the British Sign Language side of things, but I think to see it more visual in these sort of celebrations is really special. And I think it still shows that there's like this massive connection between like players and fans, which I think is so important. And it was super powerful, super cute, and hopefully as we see loads of people replicate big time players in the Premier League globally, with their main celebrations, maybe this is something that you'll see kids up and down the country doing on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, morning. That would be quite cool to see. But I just think, the impact is really special. And I'm sure for those, who've been affected by, having people with hearing impairments in their lives, and they became made aware of it, I'm sure that they would feel like, just like a type of feeling. I don't know. It's cute. I like it.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that it's a cool one, right? I mean, I'm not going to be A, scoring any goals, but B, running away with an Arsenal celebration anytime soon. But it's a pretty cool one. But is it going to inspire, other clubs? What's the British Sign Language for their club like? Sign or motto or whatever it could be, and they could like run away and do it that way.
Yeah, it would be cool to sort of see a trend of something like that, even if it just opens the inclusivity sort of category again, just see. It'd be also interesting to see what it looks like for all of the different clubs, because I mean, Gunners, that's quite like an easy, cool kind of one. But I don't know, for Brighton and Hove Albion, are you able to walk away doing a seagull or
doing a seagull?
You might get told off for that. You've seen it been done in the Prem, and I don't know. I think it would be cool to know and just to see like more little touches like that. That just really showcase that special relationship that players and fans can have. Obviously Lotte's already had like interactions before with the Lionesses. I think she did like a little video with, I think, Izzy, who was deaf, and like she had her own opportunity to create her the sort of celebration that she'd want doing for her, and then Lotte did it in the Italy game, where the little shimmy of the hips and stuff. So we've seen her do bits before, like taking inspiration from fans and stuff, and I think it's really great to see.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting or just fun. We've seen iconic celebrations like across the board in women's football. You've got Ellen White's "I can never do it quick enough because my wrists aren't flexible." Ellen White's goggles. We've got Ella. Has Ella Toone stopped doing it? She did the heart thing. Like, and it's like, yeah, okay, is this is going to pick up, right? Or we're going to be seeing Ronaldo swap his "you" for some sign language stuff. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know about Ronaldo. Is he relevant anymore? I feel like I haven't heard people.
Ooh,
Sorry,
controversial.
that was the Liverpool girl in me. Then, yeah, and the vote Messi, but yeah, let's be real. Obviously, the impact of men's football globally and the celebrations, you can't. I'm pretty sure if you did go out on a Saturday and a Sunday morning, any grassroots club in the country, you've got numerous, probably more boy teams than girl teams, celebrating just in the style of their icons, their male football icons, and doing the Cole Palmer code and Rashford might become a bit more relevant now that he's gone to Villa, but all of these like mentality
maybe.
type ones and stuff like that. I definitely think you'll see those, but I don't know. Are we quite there yet for the translation of WSL celebrations into women's football on the grassroots side? I don't know, but it would be nice to see. I'd love to know that in the future, potentially my future children are going to be doing, a WSL players celebration as they skirt away after screaming a top corner worldie. But
go on, here's some homework for you. Find out what the sign language for Eagles is and score one on Sunday.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I got you. I think it's gonna be interesting. If we had a game, actually, I would do next time. I got you. I'll get the video footage to follow as well.
The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasting with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, fantasy football, and a daily Premier League wrap-up broadcasted in 5 different languages. This is your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. Find GSPN whenever you find your usual podcast. All right, after that stunning ad read, we're back for part 2, and some beautiful bouncing baby blue news here. We've got Chelsea goalkeeper Zecira Musavich and her pregnancy announcement. Chelsea women's social media people working overtime at the minute with all those signings, and now a baby on top of it. But a fun one, and one that you don't often see or hear in women's football still. I mean, what does this mean for Chelsea and their absolute rampage at the WSL at the minute? It can only be a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Chelsea have certainly taken the dub in terms of signings, I think, for sure. But I think this one, yeah, it's special. I think it was cute that it was done on deadline day as well. I think she sat down like it was some big contract announcement, and I don't know, when I was watching it I was kind of thinking, I'm growing. I was like, oh gosh,
what do you mean?
Yeah, one step closer, ready to share happy news. I was like, oh, adding another family member. Oh, okay. It was so cute, and I think it was just, yeah, I think they did just like a really lovely moment, wasn't it? Rather than, yeah, I don't know. I just think timing wise, probably it worked out like really well with it being deadline day and like the way that they could have set it up. I think it was really well done. And yeah, it's great news. It's great news for the women's game, because I think that it just shows the change that we've seen over very recent years, and the sort of support that encompasses just natural things now, right? And there's never now a question, well, I'll have to wait until I've retired or anything. We've seen now so many players, especially like loads of the American girls, have taken the time out that they need, had their 1, 2, 3 children, and then made their way back to the game, or not, but it's been on their terms as opposed to having been forced into doing, or making some of these decisions. So Yeah, it's definitely positive. I mean, I don't know if it is positive for Chelsea, but also, they're now going to be without their goalkeeper. But thankfully, you've got, obviously, Hannah Hampton is playing outstandingly well. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, they're not lacking in cover, are they?
no,
I think they'll do just fine, and I think it's really important for someone as high profile and still number one, still playing really well, playing for a top club in the WSL to I was about to say come out, but that's not right. Like, it's a proper announcement, it's a happy announcement, it's a proud announcement. It's not like, oh, where's she gone, and she shuffles back in 12 months time and you
yeah,
wonder where she's been. It's like, this is what's happening, this is wonderful, and I think it's really cute. I'm really
yeah.
pleased, and she's only like 28 or something, so there's plenty of time to get back to it. Goalkeepers play until they're at least 65, I think. Isn't that the
I
rule?
mean,
When you
you may as well, right? It's one of those kind of positions that I think once you're a goalkeeper, you're kind of setting it for life. They tend to not get rid of you too quickly at the squad. But no, it's a wholesome moment, and I think, like you said, it's not something where they've just kind of done it a little quietly. Like, why should
yeah,
we be celebrating these things? Again, you see, we just spoke about football celebrations. Like, I swear, like every single week, someone in the Prem is like stuffing a ball up their jersey and running
yeah,
away with their thumb in their mouth. Like, those celebrations of being pregnant, of having children, like it's always been a part of the game, but I think within the women's game, it's never been something that is like been fully celebrated as like it should.
yeah,
It's like, it's obviously it's an amazing thing, recreation, etc. is like, yeah, what we're all, I guess, here for. But also, these guys are athletes. Why shouldn't they be celebrated in the same way? And I think especially now that the women's game has come as far as it has, but I think still there's probably some distance to go in a lot of potential aspects. But the celebration of it and the meaningfulness of these moments are, top tier. And I love what Chelsea did with it.
yeah. I get, it's like, as you're saying, like there's the amount of times, like men's football, you read an article or something, you find out that Joe Bloggs, who plays for United, has got 5 kids. It's like, hang on, where'd they come from? When do they come from? How old is he? He's like 15. This is mental. And you really just don't see it or hear about it in women's football. And I think it's because, I guess, when you're at that top level, like any time away from your sport is a risk to your starting place, or like a risk to your fitness, or like a risk to, we're talking about like the level of finances, absolutely. Not even having like a maternity policy or pay in, and are you going to get your contract renewed? I mean, it is big for Musavich. I mean, she's going to miss out on the miss out is relative, right? But it's 2025 Euros, so she's not going to be there, obviously, which is
maybe
a big decision to make if you're starting keeper for your country. And she was last time I checked. I haven't checked recently, but she's very, very good. So it's just, I think this is a huge step forward. You go, girl.
Yeah, it's delicious to see. We love it.
Delicious.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner, with 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs. It's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. All right, jumping into our third and final topic of the day. And it's a little bit of an interesting one that I think could bring a lot of topic and spark for debate. But the FA are considering adding WSL B-teams to the lower leagues. So obviously the ultimate hope of this is that the proposal will increase competition and player development. But there are loads of concerns that also come with that. But I'll highlight some bits of the proposal just as a start. So B-teams from WSL and Championship could play in the National Women's League. They could also play in tiers 4 to 6, but are unable to be promoted higher than tier 3. The B teams would have to play in a league at least 2 tiers below their first team. And the regional leagues in tiers 3 and 4 could be expanded to 14 teams per division, and then a playoff system would then be introduced to sort of increase those numbers of promoted and relegated teams. So I know that there's obviously a lot of information to process there, and I definitely encourage, if you are interested in learning more about the proposal, definitely take a look. You'll probably be able to find it on, I know there's loads of different websites hosting it, but there might be something written on the FA, which I'd probably encourage first and foremost if you're able to find anything there. But I think that there's a few concerns from my perspective with regards to it, and it mainly focuses around that disparity in funding between sort of top and bottom tier clubs. As a player in a club myself that's considered probably the bottom of the tiers, the thought of having WSL/Championship, if they kind of went as far down as that, B teams being brought into my league and my environment within the grassroots game is quite a daunting prospect, I think.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, the word like daunting, it's like, look, what are you? On one hand, yeah, it's going to increase competitiveness for the leagues in general. I think they're talking about expanding the size of the leagues as well to sort of accommodate these, and it's sort of like, okay, it's great for the development of the sport, of these leagues, of those specific teams. But if you're trying to think about what are you playing football for, you're trying to think about the actual players that are going to be in these leagues. Yes, some of them might be in these leagues because this is their level. They want to go up. They want to be with their team or to get promoted to the next level, or they might want to, get signed to another team, get recognized or whatever. But they might just be like, right, this is the football I play. This is the level I play at. I want to go in and I want to enjoy it. And I don't want to get battered 10-0 every time I step on the pitch on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's going to, surely it's going to do nothing other than broaden the gap that already exists between those WSL teams and everyone else, right?
Yeah, potentially. There's so many different perspectives that you can have within the same perspective, I think. And I don't know, that's probably a confusing prospect to sort of think of. But like, yeah, you've obviously got that major disparity between top and bottom, and all the money that comes with the top and all the talent that then comes with the top, because all of these top teams are training, daily, at least 3-4 times a week at a minimum in most academies. And then they're joining, leagues where we literally get, it's called an hour of training a week, but it's probably 45 minutes by the time you've got onto your hour slot. You've got everybody else from the previous session off. You've set up your practice. You've got warmed up. You've got, touches on the ball. And now it's time to get off the pitch because the next team are wanting in. And, that 45 minutes a week compared to, 3 solid hours plus everything else that comes with that, the fitness, the physiology, that the impact of those types of things that are done from a very early age within a lot of these like WSL like academy kind of setups. It's just, it does strike me as quite, I obviously don't think that there's going to be many of these clubs coming and playing like tier 6 Division 3 of the Hearts and Beds League, let's be real. But
what do you mean?
Yeah, I would love to see some Arsenal players playing in my division. I think there's a lot of positives to it. I think, yes, trying to, increase that competition and player development by giving opportunities such as those, yes. But I'm confused how it really, really core works. And I think potentially that's, the proposal is a proposal. It goes to all of the clubs. So they're able to obviously read and pull it apart a little bit and ask all the questions that they want. And I would be interested to sort of circle back to this, potentially in a few months' time when maybe we've heard a bit more about it. And then obviously when we hear the feedback from the clubs that I'm sure that we'll be privy to it, even just a little bit, about their sort of thoughts and what they think could come as a result of it in terms of their their on-pitch, off-pitch development and the impact of the pyramids as a whole. We'll see. I think it could be interesting, but I also think it needs to be done right.
It does, and I don't know. I think maybe I've just got a bit of a pessimistic view on it because I suppose, yeah, if you're talking about the funding that's going to come from the big clubs and right, it's going to move down to the lower leagues. I suppose when has trickle down economics ever worked in anything, especially football? And it's like, are we going to end up in a world where we've got Chelsea B team sitting at the top of tier 3 forever because they can't go up, they're not going to go down? If you've got the option to play for Chelsea B, or like, I'm not going to name a team to slag off, but
Georgie
your
and
local
Paige.
wreck, like it's not going to be
Yeah.
your local wreck in tier 3. But you know what? You're probably going to choose Chelsea, right? So then it's not even the fault of these clubs that it's going to cause
Yeah.
disparity. It's just as a player, as someone who wants to get better in fitness or in their skills or in football, you're not going to choose someone over Chelsea, surely.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
potentially the hope there is that, say you end up playing for Chelsea B team and you impress enough in those divisions, maybe then the perspective is that, then you make your way to Chelsea A team, A team. But do you know what I mean? You've then sort of put in the work and they've been able to see you in a competitive environment because now these tier 3, this tier 3 division will be more competitive because you've got clubs that are, similar to the WSL teams or are WSL B-teams. So you can kind of make maybe that step a little bit easier. But I still think obviously there's big question marks as to, what if the WSL or team is relegated? What then happens to that B team if they are playing at the top of the tier that they're allowed to play because of the 2-tier gap?
yeah.
What then happens to them if that WSL team gets relegated? Do they then get
Do
relegated?
they automatically have to shuffle?
Yeah, and that obviously messes up the entirety of the concept of player development because you're now dropping to a lower tier
Yeah.
when potentially you're the top of that tier consistently, but as a result of your A team counterpart, you're now having to step down a level. I don't know. I guess we don't really know what that looks like in practice.
Yeah.
But I think the conversation about development as a tier and as a pyramid as a whole is always positive. I've been saying it for the
Yes.
longest time. That disparity between top and bottom, never mind bottom of the tier and top of that single tier, like that is in itself is quite wide, I think. So then even if you were to look at that, so for instance, my club plays in Division 2 of the Beds and Hearts League. If we went up against even an Eastern Region team, so that could be Luton, that could be Real Bedford, like those kind of levels, like we would just get battered. Like I know it. Even if we put in a full strength team, just everything that came with it, I genuinely don't think that we would be able to handle ourselves very well. And that's at the lowest of the low. So then if you put in, just a couple tiers higher than that, say for instance, your Luton Towns, we've already kind of seen when they've played, who did they play in the FA Cup? Was it Brighton?
Stevenage?
Did they?
Oh, right. Okay, after that.
Yeah. Obviously they put in a decent performance, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but the scoreline said everything. So
Yeah.
that's okay. Yes, that's an A team in comparison to what we're talking about. But potentially, could that be the same with what the B team looks like? I don't know. It's where they pull their players from. Is it all the academy players that are just going to get taken out and put into like B team format?
Yeah.
Is it going to be completely separate? They're going to have their academy system that's going to push the first team, but then they've got some side contracts that are then part of their B. I don't know. I guess I don't know how it looks, and I think that side of things could be quite interesting, and how it could land generally would be interesting. And yes, it's great that we're obviously talking about increasing competition and player development. We've been begging for that for the longest time. The men's tiers have seemed to be able to do that, and I'm sure that that's taken a while, and we're obviously so far behind. So I would love to see it, and I'm happy what it sounds like in principle, but in real life, in actual practice, I don't know.
Yeah, apprehensive, but absolutely. I mean, expanding the leagues, expanding opportunities. Yeah, I never want to say it'll be a bad thing. I just feel very cautious about it for the rest of the lower leagues. But hey, we'll just have to see what happens, eh?
We will.
Alrighty, well, thanks very much, guys. A bit short and sweet today, but appreciate your viewership as always, and appreciate your conversation, Paige. I hope you've
Yes,
had fun.
ma'am. Always. Georgie, where
Fabulous.
can people find us?
You've asked the wrong gal here.
You can find us on all of our social media. I'm pretty sure we've hit everything now, haven't we? We're on Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You
Blue
can find
Sky.
the link, Blue
We made it
Sky.
there.
You can find the link in the show description. But please give us a follow. Please interact with us. Find out, we want to find out what you want to hear us talk about. If you've got questions and stuff, we want to hear all of it. And yeah, we want you to be involved as much as possible because ultimately, we're doing this type of podcast because we love talking about football and women's football, and we know that there's millions of people out there that also love to. So get involved, give us a follow, give us a shout, and we'll hopefully be able to interact with you more.
Stunning, absolutely stunning. Thanks very much, guys. We look forward to welcoming you to the next episode of Beyond the Pitch.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.